Hi singers, hello vocal teachers, hi friends. Thank you so much for watching this video. Today I'm going to talk about an interesting topic. I'm going to talk about teaching strategies for different voice types. So this is actually a good video for vocal teachers who have students and then they need to classify their voice type, if it's a coloratura or it's a dramatic soprano, lyric soprano, or a lyric tenor, and all this stuff. So it's a good video now for the vocal teachers because I am going to talk about the different factors how to classify a voice. Okay, so and as you know, I was a doctoral student at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. And part of my study was to have a lecture at the vocal pedagogy class about different very important topics in vocal pedagogy, about vocal technique for operatic singing. And one of the research papers I wrote, I mean, it's not a paper, it's a PowerPoint presentation, was teaching strategies for different voice types. So kind of classifying which Fach your student has. And there are different helping factors, tools to determine which Fach your student has. Yeah? There are different factors that science found out that these you should be careful of, that you should be addressing. So let's go on. So, of course, the word Fach is coming from the German language, and it means, in this case, it means voice classification. Okay? So, how can you classify a voice? There are certain factors that you can look at. So, the first factor is the vocal range. Okay? How high, how low, the vocal weight. Like, is it a heavy voice? Is it a dramatic voice? Is it a lyric voice? It's very important to already hear that. And then the vocal tessitura. Where does your student feel fine singing for a longer time, for a longer period? The next one is timbre. The timbre, which is totally natural. Everybody has a different timbre. It's depending on the natural construction of your larynx, of your vocal cords. Are they thick and short, or are they thin and long? Normally, if you have thick and short vocal cords, then you are a higher voice. If you have long and thin vocal cords, then you are mostly a lower voice. And then you can be something like me, who is a Zwischenfach, where you cannot really tell which one it is. So this is also and of course, one of the most important things you have to be careful of, where are the transition points? Where are the registration breaks, the passaggi in your student's voice? That is also giving a lot of information which voice type this student is. Okay, so once more, it's vocal range, it's vocal weight, it's vocal tessitura, it's timbre, is the construction of your larynx, and the transition breaks, the registration breaks. Yeah, so you could do also one other thing. You could send your young student to the ENT, to the HNO doctor, the voice doctor, and or a phoniatica. I don't know phoniatica. What is a speech therapist, speech specialist, vocal cord specialist, and he could look into your throat with a camera, and he can see actually the construction of your vocal cords. He can see if they are thin or they're short or they're long. So this could be a double check for you if you want to do that. It's not a must. He goes inside with the camera into your nose. I think in the mouth is also possible. The one in your nose is a better view, I think. As I remember, I had that too. Woohoo! And he actually also sees the movement of your larynx, if it's moving too much, or if it's a good vocal cord closure or not. So this is a good double check you should consider. Now we have the science for that. Now we have the possibility The singers 50 years ago didn't have that so much like we had now. So take use of that advantage, okay? So interestingly, after you heard your student, you're able to classify your student's voice. I forgot to say there is another factor or other factors which will also help you to classify the voice, but this is controversial, okay? You can have a look at your student, yeah? Mostly the people who are quite tall and have a long neck, they mostly sing low voices, yeah? But again, there are people who are very long and they sing tenor and or sing high voice types. But the physiognomy of the student is giving a lot of information, and also the speech level, the speaking voice. The speaking voice is also telling you a lot about the nature, voice type of that student. Okay. Then you can classify your student as, let's say, lyric tenor, coloratura tenor, spinto soprano, or whatever, and then you give the roles to them, okay? I will come to that topic at the end of my lesson, at the end of my lecture today, to talk about young dramatic voice. Like if you have a 20 years old dramatic soprano, what should you do with that voice? How can you be careful that this voice is not going to be ruined and the nature is not going to be ruined and changed? I'm going to talk about this topic at the end of this lecture, okay? Let's go on. Okay, so above all, no matter if it's male, female, and voice type, there is vocal freedom. And vocal freedom will find itself and it will determine the Fach. So if your student has vocal freedom, is resonating free, then this is his Fach and this is his tessitura. Now let's go make it a little bit more detailed, okay? Here are, in my opinion, is it? Yeah. Are the strategies to teach. There are 4 points, fields that you should work on or address when you are teaching your student. First of all, it's the breath support, appoggio, stütze, breath management, breath support. Please use whatever terminology you want. Some people are really afraid of appoggio, so don't use that terminology if you don't like it, okay? Use breath support or whatever, okay? The second is the freedom in articulation, which will come if you have a proper breath support. Then you are able to articulate better and freely. And the second point is actually connected to the third point. Where is it? Balanced resonation. These 2 things belong to each other, because here we are talking about vowel definition, the vocal tract shape, the formants, and many things more, which I will shortly address today, and the rest I can tell you where you can read it. So 2 and 3 belong to each other, are connected to each other, and they are depending again from the breath support, which is the basis for everything else, okay? And the third one, very important, the skillful registration, which is the passaggi, the breaks in the passaggi. So every singer has breaks in the passaggi. And if you're a young singer, your break is more prominent. And if you're a professional singer, they're still there, but you don't really recognize them, okay? And we will talk about this as well. So let's start with the breath management, okay? So the breath management, I like to talk about appoggio. And this word or this terminology was founded by these wonderful people. Oh, that's Lily Lehmann, sorry. This Vocal Wisdom from Giovanni Battista Lamperti and Francesco Lamperti. This is a very interesting book. It's hard to read, guys. It's hard to read, but they talked about and they founded the word, the appoggio technique. Yeah, appoggiare means leaning on. And now I have a lot of videos about appoggio. I'm not sure if I should address it again. I would say, if you have time, go to my YouTube channel. Yeah, this is the 5th video. There is one video, it's called Appoggio Technique. And there I'm talking in detail about Appoggio Technique, about how to breathe in and then how to breathe out, which muscles are in action. It's not a metaphor. You're not going to hear metaphors from me. It's pure science, it's pure logic, and it's muscle work. So breathing in and then breathing out, which is the same like singing, is no magical imagination. It is pure muscle work. It is anatomy. And I'm talking about that in my video on my YouTube channel. So please, I don't want to repeat it again because I have 2 videos describing the appoggio in detail. Yeah. But if you wish to have more information about it, you can also contact me, okay? So the proper breathing management, and it's not a big deal, yeah, is something you have to address at first. If your teacher, if your student has a good breathing management and good understanding of the breathing management, then he is able to do it. And also this is going to give the student the possibility to have a free articulation, to do vowel definition, and to do good registration breaks, to overcome them smoothly, okay? Okay, now let's go to the second point, okay? I'm thinking about if I should give you a little lecture about appoggio again before I go on. Okay, let's do a 5-minute appoggio, okay? Reminder, okay? Let's see if I can still, yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, so, appoggio has 2 steps. Breathing in and breathing out, okay? How is the breathing in? The breathing in is when we put our fingers next to our rib cage here, okay? We put our fingers next to our rib cage and we grab the very last rib, okay, from the sides. And the very last rib is the rib who is going to expand outwards, okay? So when we do this here, we put our thumb to the last rib and then we breathe in. And as you can see, my arms, my fingers, or my hands, they just moved outwards. Did you see that? Let's do it again. So I'm not elevating anything. I'm just breathing in, and the sides of my rib cage, and all 360 actually, moves out, expands. So the whole rib cage expands. Let me show you a picture of that. Here it is. This is a picture when you just breathed in and you put a lot of air inside. And this is a picture when all your air already came out. See the flash? All your air came out and you look like a little bit thinner and it's not expanded. Okay, so this is your body, just in case that you have a picture, because with pictures we can memorize better, okay? So the ribs expand. What else happens? Your diaphragm, which is like this. This is your diaphragm, by the way. This is how your diaphragm, it looks like a chapel. Can you see that? And this chapel it's in a chapel form when there is no air in your lungs. But when you put some air into your lungs, when you breathe in, the chapel forms and turns into a frisbee. Okay? And this is the way your body looks when a lot of air came in and then you're ready, steady to sing, okay? And this diaphragm actually goes down, turns to a frisbee, so that more air can be stored in your lungs, okay? So that with a lot of air you can work better, which are going through your vocal cords, okay? With that air you can work. So once you have this air tank filled, you have a very good inhalation posture, okay? So one more time. Breathe in, expand your ribs, your diaphragm will go down and turn will be a frisbee. And so you have a lot of air in your lungs to work with, which are going through your vocal cords after you start singing, okay? So this is number one. This is the inhalation process, the posture of inhalation, we call it. So now, second point, we would start singing, right? And when we start singing, we don't want to look like this for our first note. We want to stay in this type of body as long as possible. Of course, if you start singing, you will lose air. But the less air you use with singing, the better it is, because your diaphragm will still be down a long time, your rib cage will be expanded for a longer time, and the longer your ribs are expanded and the longer the diaphragm is flatter, the better for singing, the better for producing sound. So that means we have to find something that will help us to keep the expanded ribs and to keep the lower diaphragm. What can we use? We can use the abdominal muscles. The abdominal muscles are located here, yeah, here. And how can you find them? How can you activate them? When you do an S or sh. Just do it for me one more time. Do S and grab your belly. S, sh. It kind of pulls or contracts. Many people feel it like it contracts towards inside. Many say it's like going down, but I feel it also contracting inside, okay? And this S and this sh are the abdominal muscles. They get in action. They are happening while you're singing. That's the muscles who are responsible to put the air again out of your body. That's nature. You cannot force them, or you cannot change that. If you breathe out, your abdominal muscles are in action. Okay, so we know the muscles of inhalation were the expanded ribs and the lower diaphragm, right? And once we start singing, we are going to use that S and the sh feeling in your abdominals to help the ribs stay expanded, to help the diaphragm stay as long as possible in that flat form. This is the help from the abdominal muscles we get to stay in the inhalation position, inhalation posture, for a longer time. Of course, at the end, when you lose all your air, then everything will be collapsed, of course. But until that, we can keep it expanded as long as possible so that we can produce good sound, okay? So to help the ribs stay expanded, to help the diaphragm to stay low, we need to activate the abdominal muscles with that S feeling. So once you sing, you have to have that S feeling all the time in your belly going on for you, in order to help the inhalation muscles, the ribs and the diaphragm, to stay in that perfect inhalation posture, which is perfect for singers, okay? So I hope I could explain it again. I will demonstrate it one time and then we'll go on with the next topic, okay? So we are going to breathe in, okay? Now we expanded the ribs, the diaphragm went down automatically. You cannot do anything against it. It goes down by breathing. And now we do and that way we can keep this perfect expanded ribs longer into that expanded position. Yeah, and this is what is happening while you're singing. When you sing, be aware of your abdominal muscles, of your S muscles. They are going to help you to keep the ribs expanded and to keep the diaphragm down. So that will help you to produce good sound. That will give you more time for your air to pass little by little and not to go out with the first note. Yeah, not so. Keeping the air in our body as long as possible is the goal of the singer. Okay, so that we can sing slowly by slowly with little air passing by our vocal cords for a longer time. Okay, so I hope I could explain it. This was the Appoggio technique or the breathing management or breath support. It doesn't matter how you call it, it's the same thing for everybody. Okay, that was point 1, breathing management. Now we are going to talk about the free articulation and the resonance, okay? Oh, by the way, if you want to know more about the breath support and the breathing management, please go and read Richard Miller's Solutions for Singers. That's from Richard Miller. He wrote that book around 2000, I think. I have to look up when he wrote this. It's not important. And then he has a whole chapter 1, about breath management. Here, see how much he addresses the breath management. And he's talked about the Lamperti. I just told you, he talked about this book. He's giving a lot of citations from that book. So he's saying, this is the fields he's addressing. Appoggio versus belly breathing. This is one of the things he's addressing. Appoggio della nuca, la lotta vocale. I have a video about that. That is very important to understand. That was actually the thing I just explained. Leaning on the breath. Leaning, appoggiare. He's explaining that on page 17. Okay, what else is he talking about? Increasing energy but not volume. Pressed phonation. Abdominal wall muscle contact. That's what I just told you. So he's talking about really important things. And hey, vocal teachers, get this book. It's so important. It's such a foundation for you. Okay. Good, now we come to the second point, to articulation and vowel definition. Vowel means in German, because I have a lot of German singers and vocal teachers on my channel, vowel is Vokale, Vokaldefinition, and articulation is also already clear, yeah? So, and here this chapter talks about the articulation, about the articulators. The articulators are the lip, the tongue, and the jaw. And Richard Miller is actually saying that these articulators, these 3, should not be fixated. They should be relaxed. And there is a way how to relax these 3, because we have a vocal tract, as you know. The vocal tract is from our vocal cords, Stimmlippen, the whole way, this way from the mouth to the vocal cords. This is called the vocal tract. And this vocal tract is very important. This is something you should know of. I will show you a picture of that right now. So he's saying we need to relax our articulators. So we need to relax the vocal tract, or to make it possible to have a good resonation in that. So nothing is fixated. Yeah? Not stiff. A good exercise for that is if you do the tongue trill. So that way the jaw is relaxed, the lip is in the front, is relaxed, and your palate and everything else is also relaxed. Yeah. So this is a good way to eliminate negative tensions. Okay. And he said if you do the Richard Miller in his soprano voices. I don't know where my soprano voices is. I had a soprano voices also from Richard Miller. Anyway, in this securing soprano voices, training soprano voices, he says that if you do the tongue trill, your appoggio is going to react automatically, immediately. You will feel appoggio, the s, remember s and sh. You will feel that right away. So with the tongue trill and with the lip trill, you will feel the appoggio automatically. So on one hand, it's relaxing the articulators. On the other hand, it's activating your appoggio. It's activating your Stütze. Okay. Now he's talking about vowel definition. Okay, he's saying that in your vocal tract, your vowels like a, e, I, o, u, they all have a certain place where they resonate. Yeah, and he is showing it this way. Okay, he is saying now, as you can see, the vocal tract, they have different forms. Here, there's a total different vocal tract. I guess this could be an E. And I don't know, I have to see that. And this is another vocal tract form. So whatever vowel you sing, that will shape and change your vocal tract, the way between your vocal cords to the mouth. And this will make, of course, a very different resonation. Yeah, and this is even more important. As you can see, he's saying that the E and A are more in the middle of your heart palate, and the A, O, and U are more to the back, which is towards the soft palate. Okay, that's a research. Okay, that's something important vocal pedagogists found out, and it's good for a teacher to know where the A and O is felt. And now if your student, if the vocal teacher, they have a good picture of it or a good understanding of so they can work on it better. That's my opinion. I think if you have scientific and anatomic understanding of your voice, if you have the picture of your vocal cords, if you have the picture of your vocal tract and the picture of your rib cage and the diaphragm, if you have that in front of your eyes, so you can have a better outcome, much success. I'm convinced about that, but this is controversial, of course. Yeah, and Richard Miller also suggests, this is of course very known, to stand in front of the mirror and to look into your mouth when you're doing A, E, I, O, U. Okay, that way you can observe yourself, okay, and see what's going on. Lily Lehmann, by the way, Lily Lehmann is also a very renowned vocal pedagogist. She has this book, Lily Lehmann, Meine Gesangskunst. Yeah, that's also a quite old book. You can really see that when you are reading through it. Then you see the language is quite poetic. It's not so straightforward like now. So here is a picture of her vocal tract imagination. Yeah. So as you can see, I have highlighted a lot of stuff here. So she says also that the E is in the front and that the U is more in the back, see? And the A is in between, yeah, here. So, and she actually suggests to sing the vowels always connected with the Y. Ye, ya, you, yo. She likes that. She says that she's able to connect the vowels very good with it. It's an exercise. She suggests, and this Y will provide you a good onset, yeah, and guten Ansatz. Okay, and I have also another picture for you. That's a very famous picture from Lily Lehmann. There she addresses the different vocal ranges she sees. She thinks that the high range is felt more in the middle of your head. whereas the low notes are in front, and this is the hard and soft palate. This is the U shape, this is the E, this is the E, which are connected to the chest. Yeah, this is more mine. I teach a lot of chest voice participation into the vocal range, mixing it up with the head voice, mixed voice. I call it mixed voice. So for me, the chest voice participation, the chest voice portion in the singing voice, in the operatic voice, throughout the whole range is very important. And she actually addresses that here. Okay. Good. Let's go to the next one. We addressed free articulation. We just said that we have to take care of our vowel definition, the Vokale Ausgleich, yeah? And we need to relax our articulators with the tongue, lip, and jaw. This has to be free so that the singer's formant, so that the singer's vocal tract is free to resonate. Number 2 and 3, we just discussed. Now we come to the last point, the fourth point, which was the registration, the passaggi breaks, okay? Here, the vocal pedagogists say, the science says that it's also dependent on the construction of your larynx. So the length and the thickness of the vocal folds play a big role, because dramatic voices will have a little bit more breaks, hearable breaks from chest voice to head voice than the lighter voices. Yeah. Now let's go into this quite difficult topic. By the way, Solutions for Singers, Richard Miller, has a very big chapter about this registration, okay? It's his 7th chapter, and look this. Here it starts and it goes until here. And let me tell you what he is talking about. He's talking about chest voice in the low-voiced male, registration separation, laryngeal elevation and throat tension at the tenor secondo passaggio. He has every little chapter has a chapter within. Intermitting cracking on the male high note. He's talking about the cracking in a high male note. I cannot address all these details here. It would be too long. Just go and read that. Yeah, narrowing at the passaggio. Yeah, how much female chest is too much? He's addressing that on page 140. So go and get this book. What we can say is, generally, if you have a good breath support, then you will have a good registration passaggio. So you will have a smooth break from one to the other register. Okay. So why is the break happening? It's a movement of the cricoid and thyroid cartilages. When they move, then you recognize that as a break, and yeah, this is changing from one register to the other register. Now we have to find a way with our appoggio, with our vowel definition, with everything we just said, with all the 3 points we just discussed. These 3 points, if you follow them, if you train them, then you will have a good outcome for the registration breaks, for the breaks in your voice. Okay. There is one suggestion the vocal pedagogist suggests you, especially when you come from above into your chest voice, from your head voice into the chest voice, and there's often a break just before the. So the vocal pedagogists say that when you're descending from one register to the other, from the mixed voice to the chest voice, then if you're approaching the chest voice, you should have a good amount of head voice in it. So the head voice must be more before, this will make a smoother transition from head voice, mixed voice to the chest voice. Yeah? Here is the exercise for it. You can use and see. And they're suggesting also the vowels you can use. E, o, u. With all the vowels, you have to try this. And once, before you have the feeling you're having the break, you have to increase the amount of your head voice. That way it will be smoother. I do the same. I agree. Okay, so I don't know if I said everything, I'm not sure, but to be a teacher nowadays, I think, requires also to look up into science and to look up what vocal pedagogists from the past and from nowadays are talking about. There is a lot of research, there is a lot of papers and a lot of stuff in the internet and books which can help you teach your student appropriate to what science has to say. It's very important to address and include science. And I think the time where we used only metaphors, like imagine this, imagine that, without really knowing what's going on in the body, that's already old-fashioned, I think. We should step into the new generation and lean on scientific facts. And there is a lot of books which can help us to find answers of all our questions. At the end, it's going to be always stay a little bit mystery at the end, because the student itself has to find everything in his own body, in his own mouth and his own muscles. But in order to give them a good hint, a good way, a good basis to develop on, I think we should take advantage of science. This book is the bomb, guys. This is the bomb. I agree in so many things with this. And it is such a good guideline for you to prepare vocal pedagogical lectures for your students and to explain it how it is. They are really, it's German. I'm not sure if you can find it in English. Yeah, these are my books. Yeah. And now the last part, which I wanted to address earlier. If you have a young dramatic voice, let's say you have a 20 years old or 19 years old dramatic soprano or a dramatic voice, and she has a huge instrument. So what are you going to do? With me, they did a big mistake. I was a quite large and dramatic voice when I entered, when I was 17 years old at the university. They did the mistake to make me lighter, to bring me to a higher Voicefach, which was lyric soprano, Susanna. But I actually auditioned as a mezzo. And actually I was singing Carmen already. And I was not bad singing it. And after my second, third year, when they changed me to a soprano, just to be healthy, not to be singing dramatic, my voice lost his nature, lost his orientation, and was totally lost. So I lost actually my precious young years with trying to find any bass in my voice, because by changing me to a lyric soprano was a mistake. I lost my bass. So this is my suggestion to you. If you have a dramatic soprano, 17, 18, 19 years old, of course she cannot sing Adriana Lecouvreur. Yeah, in that time she cannot sing Aida or whatever. Yeah, Turandot. But she could sing a good Cherubino. But she could sing a very good Carmen. Not the whole role, but the arias. She could sing a good Orpheus, Che farò senza Euridice. She can sing a Sextus. She can do probably a componist, the aria. Yeah? So she can sing the mezzofach, Dorabella, and all these things. I'm not saying she should sing a Cenerentola with a coloratura, but she's not able to do that when she's a dramatic soprano. And please don't force the young mezzos to sing all Cenerentola and Rosina. Why are you doing that? Not everybody is meant to sing coloraturas. Yeah? So Give them something legato in mezzofach, yeah? And wait until they get into the mid-20s. In the mid-20s, there is a change again, yeah? A hormonal change, hormone change, a voice change, gets bigger, smaller, whatever, it changes. And then you can still, it's time enough to see where she can now go. Maybe she can sing already, I don't know, a soprano thing, or operetta. Operetta is very good. The Diva-Fach in Operetta, Lustige Witwe, Czardaschfürstin. This operetta and Broadway musicals, by the way, yeah, these are very good arias for young dramatic female voices who are still trying to find out what they are and if they are dramatic, okay? And once she's around 30 or 29, 28, she can start singing Trovatore, or she can start singing, I don't know, Mimi and all this, whatever she is. And if she's a dramatic mezzo, then yeah, she's going to sing probably an aria, Azucena Stride la Vampa. I'm not saying the whole role, I'm just saying the arias. And she can sing Dalila and Carmen, yeah, slowly. But don't make a dramatic voice go into the higher lyric Fach. She should go down from not sopran, she should go down to the mezzofach and sing the mezzofach as long as possible until she is old enough to change into dramatic Fach as a soprano, for example. Okay? The same thing with tenors, the same thing with baritones and basses. Yeah? So this is a suggestion, just my opinion. Thank you for watching my video. This was a long video, but I hope I could give you some information about teaching strategies for different voice types. Thank you and have a great day.